everyone, it's me, Alex. So in my last video, I went over the key differences between the one piece and the two piece. And in this video, I'm just quickly going to talk a little bit about why I prefer the one piece. As I said in my last video, the majority of people prefer the two piece, and that's just because it is so much easier to change the appliance. So a lot of people will leave the base plate on, and then every morning or every other day or however often you need to, you can just dispose of the appliance and then put another one on. I think people usually leave that for 3 or 5 days. And then the alternative, of course, is this one piece, which it's all one piece. It's a little bit trickier to put it on, but it is more low profile, and there's just a bunch of benefits to it. A little bit about my history. When I came out of the hospital after surgery, I was using a two-piece by a company called Hollister, and I started on a two-piece system, so it seemed most natural to me, especially when I was just starting out with figuring out how to change it and how to live with an ostomy. It was much more simple to not have to change it every single day, like the whole appliance and everything. It left more time for my skin to heal. And that is something that you'll see for a lot of people who get irritated skin, is they prefer to have the base plate stay on for longer because there's less irritation of pulling on and off. So pretty quickly after surgery, I got back to my active lifestyle. I like to go to yoga and dance and run and do all kinds of things. And when I'm doing all those things, I end up sweating a lot. And what I noticed was that the more I was sweating, the more slippery the back of this adhesive would become. So if I tried to use the same base plate or like wafer for multiple days in a row, it would get too sweaty, which would just leave me in like a not so pleasant situation. So one of the things that I ended up doing was changing the base plate here every time I would get sweaty and go out dancing or go, doing whatever I was doing. After a while, it just didn't make any sense to be going through all of these products, once or twice a day because of just how active I was. The other thing is swimming. So if you go swimming, especially if you're going in like a hot tub or something like that, that's gonna really lessen the time that this wafer is going to stick to your body, because remember, this is an adhesive, it's like tape. So, if you're getting like oil or anything greasy or sweaty or just a lot of hot water in the area, it's going to start to lift at the corners, and then you'll be like in for not such a great time potentially. Since the amount of time that I could use the base plate was already so shortened, I started experimenting with the idea of using the one piece. The first time I used the one piece was like because they were sold out of the two piece that I needed. And I actually was really surprised because I was really disappointed that I was gonna have to change it again the next day. I was like amazed once I put it on, and I was like, I feel like I'm not even wearing anything. Whereas this was like so bulky and just big, and kind of like, I just was more aware of it. Again, this was closer to this, like when I first had my surgery, but I was really amazed by how I barely even felt this there. One of the other things that's really important to talk about when it comes to why people choose different ostomy products is the filters. So there's a little filter in here. I don't know if you can see it. It's like a carbon filter, and it has a filter that goes all the way around in a circle. Coloplast is the only ostomy supply company that I am aware of that has that technology. It's probably patented, but it's like this sponge that goes all the way around and this carbon filter, whatever it is, it's awesome. And the purpose of that is because obviously everybody gets like gas in their body, but when you have an ostomy, that's where your gas leaves your body. So you will get like a buildup of air or gas in your pouching system, and having that filter there is actually a way that it all just naturally exits the appliance without you having to do anything. Whereas if you're having a two-piece product and it doesn't have that filter there, then you'll have to actually like manually open the appliance and just like let it, I guess, be less full of air. People call it like burping their appliance, which I hate. Like burping and belching is like the biggest, it gives me the ick so hard. So I really hate that term, but it's just commonly accepted. and it's what people know it as, so that's why I use it. So when you have that filter in place, you don't need to do that. And it's totally odorless, like none of that is an issue. Your ostomy should be completely odorless until you're using the bathroom, obviously. And if you are getting an odor any other time, then that should be a sign that there's something wrong and you need to see your stoma nurse. But the problem with these handy dandy filters is that as soon as they get wet, they stop working. So just with your movement throughout the day, if you go swimming, even if you lay down at night, the filter will stop working. So that means that when you wake up in the morning or even throughout the night, you'll start to have issues with that gas buildup and that air buildup, especially if you're like drinking lots of carbonated beverages or eating broccoli or that sort of thing that can like cause that gas to happen for a lot of people. And so if you have the one-piece system, you can't quote unquote burp it, which makes it way more annoying because you have to like actually empty the thing in order to get rid of that gas buildup. Typically the way that I function is in the morning, I get up, I have my shower, nice and clean, and then when I get out of the shower, I change my entire appliance, I put on a new one piece, and then I'm ready to go for the day. If at any point during that day I'm like extremely physically active, like dripping with sweat, or if I go swimming, I will just change the entire appliance because I know that for me, the adhesive lifting off in the corners can be an issue if I'm really sweaty. Same with if I have a bath. Like typically I don't have a lot of baths anymore because after a bath I'm soaking wet, I'm gonna wanna change the whole appliance. So I will have baths occasionally, but afterwards I do change the appliance, so it's kind of a pain, and that is also an expense. Like these things are expensive. Keep in mind, we often pay for these out of pocket. I know I do, and they're very expensive. This is like a $7 product that I need every day, plus other products to go with it. So yeah, that's the way I do it. That is why it works better for me. And yeah, I'm kind of one of the few weirdos who uses the one piece, but it works really well for me, and so I'm really grateful that it exists. And as I mentioned previously, I also use the midi, which is like the smaller version. There are longer, like larger versions, but I have a small body frame and my stoma is pretty low in my body, so this works a lot better for me. It just means that I have to empty it more regularly. I think that is just about everything that I can say about, you know, of course, the pros and cons of these two items, and then why I personally use the one piece. If you have any more questions, please do ask in the comments below, and I would be happy to make more videos like this if you find they're useful or informative. So please do share, comment, like if you have the time to do so, and I hope you have a fabulous rest of your day.